Hey guys, my name is Troy. Welcome back to my booktube channel. Today we have a very special video. I have just so much going on, so much to tell you, so much tea to spill. So basically I read nearly 5,000 pages this month in March. The total came out to 4,821, but that's close enough to 5,000. Like I was just a couple hundred pages off, and I do have this night to read. So basically I've read 5,000 pages this month, and I'm just here to share all the books that I read. I read 12 books, 10 physical books, 2 audiobooks. I'm gonna go through each one, say the synopsis, review it. It's going to be a great video, but before we do that, I've got a lot of tea to spill. So yeah, let's get into that. So first I want to mention comments on the last video. As some of you guys know, I filmed the reading for 24 hours straight challenge on Sunday. It went really well, but that's why I couldn't get back to a lot of your guys' comments, because I was reading for 24 hours straight. I wasn't replying to comments for 24 hours straight, so I had to just, you know, kind of put my phone away. I did glance at it. I actually did read your comments, like, to motivate me, because sometimes I was like getting really unmotivated during the challenge, but I did read them. I just couldn't respond to them because it would have totally erased the point of reading for 24 hours straight. So yeah, and then also speaking of the 24-hour challenge, that is going out this Saturday. It was such a fun challenge. Honestly, it was such a fun vlog. I can't wait to show you like what I read, how it went, and just, okay, you guys, I just can't wait to show it to you. I don't really want to spoil anything. So yeah, it's just reading for 24 hours challenge. I made a reading for it. There's lots of tea, lots of snacks, lots of fun reading that went down. It was amazing. Then I guess my other bit of tea is this box that came in the mail today, and I'm not going to really share what came in this box, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a vast kind of glimpse into next week's video. So this is going to be next Wednesday's video. I'm going to share what's in this box. I'm going to share a potential giveaway. Maybe in this box there's a giveaway happening for you guys, open internationally. Maybe, I'm just saying, maybe there's a giveaway. Yeah, so basically an author sent me this, and I've got some really cool stuff gonna happen with this book next Wednesday, and a cool giveaway too. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. Oh, the last bit of tea is going to be that I might have a new upload schedule coming, and it'll be more videos. It'll be Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So just a new video every week on Mondays, because I'm thinking of doing a weekly reading vlog for the month of March, because I'm doing the Magical Readathon hosted by Book Roast, and I think that'll be a really fun challenge. And I think I want to show you guys kind of like in my life a little bit. I really want to just kind of hit it hard in April with content. I really want to entertain you guys. I really want to just put myself out there on the line. I want to like give you guys as much content as you guys want, because like, guys, I love you guys so much, so I want to give back to you. So yeah, I'm doing giveaways, more videos. This is a really exciting week. I do have online school and stuff, so this week is gonna be very stressful, but I feel like next week is gonna be amazing. So anyways, let's get back to the video. So I read 12 books in March, like I said, and I read 2 audiobooks, and I obviously don't have those in my hand right now, but we are going to go individually one by one. And also in this video I wanted to have fun and do it like reverse chronological. So normally I would go from like the earliest books that are in the month to the latest books in the month. I'm going to go from the books I most recently read to the books that I read at the start of the month. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. So let's just jump into our first book, Warriors in the Wild or something. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, that's typical of me. It's an audiobook. And I don't normally read the title of the audiobook. But anyways, we are going to jump into our first book that we most recently read, and we're going to jump around and talk about all the books that I read. I hope you guys enjoy this video. So again, we're going from like the books that I read most recently. So the most recent book that I finished right before the end of March was Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levin. And this book is kind of like a Viking-inspired, really fun, kind of whimsical, magical, emotional, gripping story that I really did love to read. It was just an amazing audiobook. The narrator had me intrigued. It was written in first person, which I really loved. Let me get into like a quick description of the book. It was basically about this 18-year-old girl named Razmira who lived in her village, and she was training to become her father's, I guess, heir to like the leadership of the village. So she was like becoming the leader of the village. She was about to become an adult grown warrior. She just had to pass a trial. So to be considered an adult, she has to pass her trial. If she doesn't pass the trial, she gets a matager, which is basically this task that is basically physically impossible, and you're banished until you can complete your matager. When Razmira, the best warrior in her village, fails her trial, I mean, the world is completely shook. She's burst into this like really emotional kind of like going. She has to leave the tribe, and she has to go and complete her matager, which is to kill the god Peruxolo, which is this impenetrable god that's never been even, you know, drawn blood from. And so she has this impossible task to kill this god. She meets these like people in the wild, and they all team up to try to basically kill this god. It's a really fun story. It's like if you're looking for like kind of like a, I guess like an emotional story, but kind of fun and lighthearted lighthearted, and it's just like really quick and to the point. There's lots of action, lots of like naturey scenes. I really did love this story, and again, just listening to the audiobook, I got to rein in like the Viking feel and just listen to all the details kind of just run through my mind. I had a great imagery of the whole thing. It was amazing. So yeah, next book. Okay, so now let's talk about the Unwanted series by Lisa Mcmann. This was a very important series to me in my life. The series was very impactful on me, and I actually made a video about this. Tap up there for my 6 series that changed my life. This was one of them. Very impactful series, and so I wanted to start to reread because I just haven't reread this in such a long time, and there's just so magic in this, and it was middle grade March, and now I'm here talking to you guys about it. So I guess this is a very kind of complicated book to also complain, what am I talking about? To explain. This book is basically about this world called the Quill, this island in this land of Quill. There are 3 kind of types of people. There are the Unwanteds, the Wanteds, and the Necessaries. So Unwanteds are the people that are creative, and they have like creative thoughts, and they can sing, dance, make art, paint, whatever. And they are not wanted in society, and so they are shipped out to their deaths every year. There's the Wanteds, who are wanted in society, and they go to like university, they fight in the Quilitary, which is like the military, but the Quilitary. And then there's the Necessaries, who just do like jobs, like labor jobs, and are just kind of like necessary for keeping the society alive. Basically what happens is we are following a set of twins in this series. There's Aaron Stowe and there's Alex Stowe. Alex Stowe is sent to the Unwanteds, Aaron Stowe is sent to the Wanteds, and basically what happens is we follow mainly Alex, and what happens is Mr. Today, this magical man, saves the Unwanteds every year, and it's just like there's this kind of secret world that all of the Unwanteds go to called Artime, and there's this mansion, and there's all this magic and art, and basically what happens is at this kind of mansion, they all go to classes to learn art and how they can use that as a weapon. And in this book, there is this kind of war brewing amongst the Unwanteds and Quill as the two find out about each other, and it's just a really fun story. And then the second book is basically about more tensions between Quill and Artime after the events of the first one, because there's a little bit of an issue that happens after the first one that propels the second one to happen, and basically Aaron, a wanted, is getting revenge back on his brother Alex. And so the books in this series are just so warm, magical, light-hearted. They're just so funny and like just really gripping because they're just so magical, and like I never can like fall asleep with these books because they're just so, you know, fun to read, and it's like, I don't know, it's just something about them, like the nostalgia of like reading them again after so many years, the middle gradeness in them, like just how they're light and magical, and like the artsy feel to it, so that like art can be considered as a weapon and art is powerful, and like just empowering artists. It's just a really great series in general, and I really enjoyed reading the first 2 again. I'm just gonna jump straight into the next few. It actually can fulfill one of my magical readathon prompts. I'm so excited for that, for like the book that is set in the coast, because this is set at the coast of Quill, because it's on an island, so it's basically set at sea. And yeah, that's gonna be really exciting. So let's get into the next book. Next up is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Fazl. I'm really sorry, I keep pronouncing this name wrong in all my videos. Hafsa Fazl. Hafsa Fazl. I don't even know. Anyways, this was kind of like a slow read. Like it took me like almost like 3 weeks to read it. I don't know. It just took me a long time. I started this when I was traveling, so I brought this book across the country, so I can say like I brought this to Arizona and California and stuff. But yeah, I did start reading this during the trip, and again, it was just a really slow read because this book wasn't that great. I think I'm actually gonna give this like a 4 stars because it just didn't entertain me too much. Like there's just so much details. I said I was immersed in like my first update, like in the middle of the month, but then it just got to be like too much. Like the author was too invested in the story, talking too much about everything, and just kind of got a little boring as it went on. But anyways, this book is about these 2 people. So there's Athira the Hunter, which is a girl who disguises herself as a guy and hunts to provide the people in her like village with food, and so she feeds her village. And then there's this guy named Prince Nazir, who is the sultan or like the king's son, who is the assassin or like the prince of death, who has to assassinate his father's enemies. And so the 2 meet up in this wild like adventure to this like magical book, and Zafira basically wants to kind of take down like the oppressive government. Prince Nazir is sent to kill the hunter, and they just 2 meet up and go on this magical quest. But I love it. This is high fantasy, and so it's like set in a totally different world, so immersed in culture, and like it's so rich and it's just so much details. It's just I didn't really enjoy that. Like, the story is so well written, so well thought out. There's so much details, and you can learn so much about this new world. It's really great. I just think it was like a little bit dragged out with too much details, too much, you know, world building and info dumps and plot. Like, it was just way too much for me, but I loved it. It was a great book. Give it a read if you are wanting something that's really overly detailed and kind of like immersive, if that's a word. We Hunt the Flame, Hafsaf Azul. Okay, so this book is called The BFG and is by Roald Dahl. This is the first book that I'll be talking about that I read on my reading for 24 hours straight challenge. So I basically read this in like about 3 hours-ish. It was only like 205 pages or something, so it was really a quick read. I really enjoyed it. This book is about this girl named Sophie. She's in her bedroom one night. She goes outside, looks through the curtains, and all of a sudden she sees this giant stalking around like her neighborhood because she's a part of the orphanage. She draws back the curtains. She sees this giant, and so she's like, what? All of a sudden, the giant turns around, sees her, and kidnaps her and takes her to the giant country. Sophie is beyond worried that she's about to get eaten, but once she gets to the giant's cave, she realizes that the BFG is actually the big friendly giant and that he doesn't eat humans, but the other 9 giants that live alongside him do, and they also live in the giant country. And so this book is kind of them, the girl and the giant, kind of teaming up to take over the other giants that are eating humans in the world, and there's this crazy conquest, like, to basically get the other giants in captivity. It's just a really fun and quick and sweet novel. It's so funny, it's so like adventurous and light. I just love Roald Dahl's books because they're honestly just so quick and easy, and like they can give you a smile. Like, I just think like there's like some books that I was reading this month that were just kind of like really dark and like kind of just dragged out, and like I think I just kind of love the contrast of this. Like, it's just so light and fun and quick. I've said this so many times, light, fun, quick, but that's just how I describe the book in 3 words. And yeah, this was just really great middle grade book. I've read this book so many times because Roald Dahl's an amazing author. Let's get into the next book. Okay, so the next book is The Explorers, The Door in the Alley, and this is also another book that I read in the 24-hour challenge. I read this so quickly. It was such a fun middle grade read. Like, I don't know, I was so skeptical about it. Even the first chapter, like, am I gonna like this? I love this book so much. It was honestly just this wild adventure goose chase across this city that they're living in. It was really fun. So let me kind of tell you what this story is about, which is so weird. I can't really explain it, so I'm gonna try my best. But basically, there's this boy named Sebastian. He's just always been following the rules, like being this like kind of scientist. He's never really breaking the rules. And I think he just has that kind of inner want to kind of like, you know, have a little fun, break the rules. So one day when he stumbles upon the Explorers Society in an alleyway, he kind of thinks about exploring, and he gets this kind of like idea in his head. One day he actually makes his way into the Explorers Society and is full of all of the explorers and all of their artifacts and magical kind of like cool scientific, you know, discoveries of all their places, and filled with explorers, and like it's just this magical place, and he loves it there. And so he's actually made to be like the cleaner of the place, and so he cleans everything. He, you know, talks with all the explorers. It's really fun. He's having a great time. But then we meet another character named Evie, who is going to this really dull school. Like, her walls in her bedroom at the school are gray. She's just like really not enjoying her life. And one day when she goes to this dinner party with the Anderson family, what happens is someone comes to hold them hostage. So someone enters the house and holds them hostage and then burns down their house. Evie barely escapes, and with a letter from the Andersons telling her to deliver it to the Explorer Society. And so the 2 kids meet up, Evie and Sebastian. All of a sudden they're on this really wild goose chase to like discover this map and this key and find these lost kind of explorers and like figure out this wild mystery. And then at the same time there's this other evil organization with these bad guys kind of like racing after them and like capturing them. And it's just really a really fun story. It's just so quick, to the point, sweet, short. It's just one of those books that are so light and fluffy and just really gets you in all the feels, except it's not really emotional. It's just a really like lighthearted, fun story, which middle grade just really has me at that feeling. I feel like I'm describing every single book in this video as light, fluffy, airy. Like, it's just, that's middle grade in its essence. It's just all of them are the same. I love this book so much. Now let's get on to the next one. Okay, so the last book that I have to talk about that I read during the Reading for 24 Hours challenge is Divergent. I read another book in addition to this, but I just didn't finish it, so I'm not going to talk about it in this video. So, Divergent by Veronica Roth. This was another reread. I read this so many times throughout middle school. and I got a notification. Anyways, what I was saying is I read this so many times through middle school and like elementary school even. Like I read this book so much. Like you can see how like torn it is. It's like all stained and like rough, and I love that. This book is so good, and I just haven't read this in a while actually. I've read this very many times like throughout my childhood, but I haven't had time to reread it. And making that dystopian recommendations video again where I talked about that Divergent book, I needed to reread it again, and I honestly love this so much that I might try again on the second two books. So we'll see. But Divergent is such an amazing story. Again, you can check out my dystopian recommendation video up here. I talked about it in that video if you want to learn more about dystopian recommendations. Anyway, Divergent is basically about this futuristic world. Actually, it's kind of like a futuristic world, like that's kind of like futuristic as in like a century after we're living, so like it's building off of like humans today. And in this world, well, on the earth, there is this kind of like society, and there's 5 different factions that make up this society. I don't remember the names. And these 5 factions kind of coincide with each other, although they're very tension between each other. And every year, these 16-year-old people kind of choose their faction, and so they get to choose which faction they want to become a part of. Basically, this book follows a 16-year-old girl named Beatrice, who basically transfers factions after realizing, taking this test to see which faction she should choose, and it goes all wrong. She becomes this Divergent, which is one of these rebels according to the government, and she basically can't be affected with like mind control, and so she's like really like it's dangerous to be Divergent, and she could be killed for being Divergent, so she has to hide that secret as she transfers to another faction to fight for her life. And in this faction, the Dauntless faction, there's this like really daredevil-y feel to it, and she has to fight, climb, and like face all of her fears to become a part of the faction. And it's just really fun. Again, I'm not really good at explaining books. I know you guys in the comments say that I do, but I don't know how to explain books. So anyways, yeah, this was a really fun story, and I really enjoyed reading it again. Like I said, there's so much action with the Dauntless because they're all daredevils. They're jumping off of buildings, they're like fighting each other. There's all these kind of crazy high action fight scenes, and there's like these fear scenes where they have to face their fears. And like just to become a part of this faction, like you have to do so much, you have to give up so much, you have to sacrifice so much. And it's just like it's so cool seeing this transformation from, you know, the abnegation Beatrice, which is the kind of like lovey-dovey faction that's like, oh, we should all be peaceful and we should all like be selfless, and then she goes into the Dauntless faction, which is like you have to be fearless. And so it's just really cool transformation. I love the romance in this, love the action, love the general plot with the political system. It's really fun. Love this book so much. Check out this book. Just the first one, like I said, like don't read the second or third. It'll ruin the series for you. Guys, when you see me going to like one side of the frame, you know I'm about to have an audiobook pop up on the other. So this next read was an audiobook. It was To Best the Boys by Mary Weber, and it was my first audiobook that I listened to ever. If you want to check out my last video, it was a whole review on To Best the Boys and like on my first audiobook thoughts. I'm really loving audiobooks, and I'm so glad I could have found them in March. It was amazing. I loved it so much. And so let's talk about To Best the Boys. So To Best the Boys is about this girl named Ren. We follow her in this whole new world where women are like, they don't have equal rights to men, and they're not allowed to like be scientists. They're only just expected to be like housewives and like, you know, just like attend to the house or attend parties, like be the men are like the scientists, and like they're the providers for their families and stuff. And so we're kind of set in this kind of like non-equal society, and Ren is set to kind of break the gender norms and, you know, prove to women that scientists can be women as well. So what happens is in this world, Ren's mom is sick with this disease, and Ren is trying to find a cure for it. And so Ren's mom is slowly dying, and her dad are seeking for a cure. And then what ends up happening is there's this annual labyrinth contest for boys like age 16 to 18, like young boys, to get a scholarship. The prize is to get a scholarship to Stenwick's University, and Ren realizes that she needs that scholarship to save her mother to like get the advanced education so that she can find the cure. And so Ren dons the disguise of a man, goes in with her other friend that's a girl, and they basically go into the labyrinth contest together and, you know, try to get this scholarship to save her mom, be scientists basically. So she's trying to like become a role model for all women and show them that like, you know, women can be scientists too. Anyways, I feel like I'm just not explaining this well, but yeah, this was a great book. I really loved like, you know, the women's rights vibe to it. It was so empowering. I feel like it made the story so much more emotional and like had so much more like fight in it. Like Ren was like, I really want women to be able to do the same thing that men can do. Like I really thought that was such an empowering message. I really liked the world, like the new creatures, and like the labyrinth contest was so exciting with all the different like puzzles and quests and equations, and it was just really fun. And then like the characters, like they were so gripping and they all had unique personalities, and like you were rooting for the main character Ren the whole way through. It was really fun to read. The narrator was so good for this audiobook, and I just loved listening to it, just kind of letting my mind drift and relax and like listen to this amazing story. It was so powerful, had me so emotional, so gripping, so real, raw. I loved it so much. It was such a magical story. Now let's get into the next book. Okay, it is on to the KOTLC series, or the Keeper of Velocities series by Shannon Messenger. I absolutely love this series, and it's like my 8th time rereading it. I read the first 3 books in March, and I plan to kind of read some more in April and maybe even into May, because I don't know how I want to read other books, and I'm reading just so much. I've been mind-boggled by the reading that I've been doing, but I don't want to hold up all these books. Let me talk about the first one, then I'll talk a little bit about the second 2, because I don't really want to spoil, so I'm just going to talk about a little bit about them. So, this is Keeper of Velocities. I really enjoy the series, as I said again. It is about this girl named Sophie Foster who is a telepath. One day she's approached by this boy that's also a telepath, pulls her aside and tells her that she's an elf and that there's a whole nother world, like a hidden world waiting for her with this land of the elves. And what happens is Sophie is forced to move into this elven world, and all of a sudden she's like uprooted from her human life and she's thrown into this whole different society, and she has to kind of like fit in just to learn who her true identity is, because even like her parents didn't give birth to her, and she has all these like weird talents and hidden secrets, and she's just really trying to find out who she is, who made her exact. And there's also people out there that are willing to kill her for her secrets, and so there's just this really big conspiracy and like fun adventure through the like light elven cities, and like funny, it's just really great adventure. The first book is really good. It's just really quick and like to the point, and like it's like it's just so magical, and it's like even like Harry Potter, like they go to this magical school. It's really fun. Then the next book is Exile. This book was also really fun. It was a little bit more like kind of depressing, but I think just like the emotional side to it made it more gripping. And this book focuses on 3 main things: this alicorn on the cover, and a character called Alden and what happens to him, and Sophie, more like secrets with Sophie. And then the third book is also really good. A lot of people underestimate this, but they just forget what's happening in this book. This book was really good. It had a lot of funny moments with the character Keith. This book focuses around kind of mind healing and finding out who Jolie, a character in the story's murder, like how she came to be murdered, because we all thought it was an accident, but now we found out that it was not an accident. And so these 3 books were really fun to read. I read them in 1 week. I took 1 week out to read 2,000 KOTLC pages. I didn't quite get to 2,000, but this was freaking amazing. I loved rereading these books. They're such a fun story, and just like the series in general is it's just so magical and amazing, and I totally recommend it to a lot of people. Even one of my commenters, Rebecca, I can't remember the last name, but Rebecca, she picked it up because of me, and she's now loving it. So what's there to lose, honestly? All right, let's go on to the next book. Okay, the final book that I read this month, and like kind of like the first book that I read this month as well, was The Leveler by Julia Durango, and I talked about this I think in my massive reading update video, but I'm gonna talk about it again. This was a really fun video, fun book. It was also sci-fi, so that was fun. I kind of went out my comfort zone with a sci-fi book, and it wasn't like too overpowering, so I loved that. And basically this is about this girl named Nixie Bauer, Bauer, I think. Anyway, she's basically this bounty hunter in this virtual world, like this gaming world called the Meep universe, and she is frequently hired to pull kids out of like the virtual world, like their kids are getting lost in it or they're spending too much time, so she's hired to kind of pull them out of it. And so she's doing those jobs, she's racking up that cash, when one day the billionaire game developer of the Meep universe actually calls on her to come and rescue his son. And basically his son is in this world with this like suicide note, and there's like this big labyrinth where she's kind of hired to kind of beat the labyrinth, find Win Salvador, which is the son, and take him back to the real world. So it's just another job for her. But when Nixie does find Win, she soon realizes that he wasn't trying to kill himself, and that there's this other organization behind this crazy plot where Win was lost. And basically what happens is they have to find their way out of this universe together, and it's just a really fun sci-fi story where they're just kind of exploring this world, trying to get out of it. I don't know what to say. I really did like it. There's this romance that I really liked. It was just kind of light, like I said. It was like a short book. It had a lot of emotion, and there's some really high action scenes that I was loving. And just like the new experience of the Meep universe and the virtual gaming world, like that was all kind of fun to read because, I don't know, it's new to me. Yay, I love this book so much. Totally recommend. 5-star rating. And look at this cover, it's really cool. Okay, anyways, now we need to get onto the outro, so let's go see you there. Love you guys. Let's transition. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a really fun time making it and had a great time talking about the 12 books that I read in March. I mean, it's still crazy how I was able to read all of that. Like, I don't know what came over me, and especially because like 80% of my reading was after like the trip, because I wasn't able to read much on the trip. And so it was like crazy just how I read so much, and like it was like I was finishing books every other day, and I was reading up late, and I was like doing all these reading for 24-hour challenges. I don't know, I just think this was such a great month to propel me like into reading. Like I just think my passion for reading has just grown with this month. And so I mean, I really hope you guys have had successful months as well. This was like one of my most successful months in a very long time. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, guys. That really does help me and just shows me that you liked my videos. It really does support me. Like, it helps the YouTube algorithm. Like, any support that you guys want to give me will come in the like button. I will love your likes. Also, make sure to subscribe to my channel. It's hard to believe that we're already at like 720 subscribers, or 718 last time I checked. It's like we just hit 700. Like, literally last video I was talking about, oh, we hit 700. Thank you guys so much. Y'all are freaking amazing. We're gonna be at 1,000 in no time in this kind of like condition. So thank you guys so much. I really love it. And make sure to subscribe. I got a lot of content coming. So much fun stuff going on. So many fun videos, fun video ideas, craziness. And also make sure to comment below. What did you read in March? Have you read any of the books that I read? I'll try to expose all the titles, but I feel like I'm about to die. Have you read any of the books that I did? I would love to hear your thoughts on some of the books, and you know, you can like give me a list of what books you read in March. Do you have any recommendations for me? I can't say that I'll get to them since I don't have access to a library, and I'm trying to save it for a camera, so I can't say that I will see recommendations, but I love adding your guys' recommendations to my TBR and stuff. That's all fun. If you have any recommendations, just tell me about your life, tell me about your reading. I would love to respond to you guys. I will be doing that this time because last time, remember, I had that 24-hour challenge. I'm talking way too much. And if you like my videos, click up here for my last video. It was about listening to my first audiobook, and it was a review of the book that I listened to, and my audiobook thoughts. Like, it was crazy. Like, I didn't know, like, I was confused at what to do while I was reading the first audiobooks. You can just hear my full thoughts on that. It was a great video. I have a lot of other great videos too. Make sure to check them out. I include like a little watch next section in my description if you want to watch more videos from me. And I think that's all I have to say, guys. I have been talking for the last hour, and I'm literally just losing my mind. So have a great rest of your day. I love you guys so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you guys in the next video with my reading for 24 hours challenge. It's gonna be a very special one. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Love you.